Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered why workers exposed to dust every day can develop serious lung diseases years later, even without obvious symptoms in the beginning? Occupational dust diseases are among the most important preventable occupational illnesses and remain a major public health concern worldwide. In this video, let us understand the different occupational dust diseases, their causes, clinical features, prevention, and control in a simple and systematic way. Occupational dust diseases develop after prolonged inhalation of harmful dust particles generated during various industrial and agricultural activities. The severity of disease depends on the type of dust, concentration, duration of exposure, particle size, and the body's ability to remove inhaled particles. The microscopic size of dust particles plays an important role in disease development. Dust particles measuring between 0.5 and 3 microns are called respirable dust particles because they are small enough to bypass the upper respiratory tract and reach the terminal bronchioles and alveoli. These particles remain trapped in the lungs, producing inflammation and eventually fibrosis. Once fibrosis develops, it is irreversible. Therefore, prevention remains the most effective approach. Occupational dust diseases can be broadly classified into several important groups. Pneumoconiosis includes diseases such as silicosis, coal workers' pneumoconiosis or anthracosis, and asbestosis caused by inhalation of inorganic dusts. Organic dust diseases include bicyanosis, bagasosis, and farmer's lung, resulting from exposure to cotton dust, sugarcane bagasse, and moldy hay, respectively. Tobacco dust exposure also produces important occupational health problems among workers involved in tobacco processing. Let us first understand silicosis. Silicosis is caused by prolonged inhalation of free crystalline silica dust. Workers at risk include miners, stone cutters, quarry workers, sandblasters, ceramic workers, granite polishers, and foundry workers. After inhalation, silica particles are engulfed by macrophages. However, these cells are damaged, releasing inflammatory mediators that stimulate fibrosis. The lungs gradually develop dense nodular fibrosis, reducing their elasticity and respiratory function. Patients with silicosis commonly present with progressive breathlessness, persistent cough, chest pain, and reduced exercise tolerance. Chest radiographs typically show multiple nodular opacities, giving a snowstorm appearance. One important complication is silicotuberculosis because tuberculosis occurs much more frequently among patients with silicosis than in the general population. Since fibrosis cannot be reversed, early prevention and dust control are extremely important. Another important occupational dust disease is anthracosis, also known as coal workers' pneumoconiosis. It results from prolonged inhalation of coal dust by coal miners. Initially, coal dust accumulates within the lungs without causing major symptoms. Continued exposure eventually leads to progressive fibrosis, breathlessness, chronic cough, and respiratory disability. In India, this disease is recognized as a notifiable disease under the Mines Act and is also a compensable occupational disease under the Workmen's Compensation legislation. Bicyanosis is another important occupational lung disease caused by inhalation of cotton dust in textile workers. Workers involved in spinning, weaving, and cotton processing are particularly affected. The earliest symptom is chest tightness occurring on the first working day after a holiday, commonly known as Monday fever or Monday chest tightness. With continued exposure, symptoms progress to chronic cough, breathlessness, and irreversible airway obstruction. Prevention depends on effective dust control, adequate ventilation, and periodic medical examination of workers. Bagasosis occurs among workers exposed to sugarcane bagasse, especially when moist bagasse becomes contaminated with Thermoactinomyces species. Unlike pneumoconiosis, bagasosis is a hypersensitivity pneumonitis rather than a fibrotic dust disease. Patients develop fever, cough, breathlessness, and diffuse lung inflammation. Early diagnosis and removal from exposure usually result in complete recovery. Continued exposure may produce permanent lung fibrosis, emphysema, and chronic bronchiectasis. Asbestosis develops after prolonged inhalation of asbestos fibers. High risk occupations include asbestos mining, insulation work, shipbuilding, roofing, brake lining manufacture, and construction industries. Patients gradually develop progressive breathlessness, dry cough, and diffuse pulmonary fibrosis, particularly involving the lower lobes of the lungs. The greatest concern with asbestos exposure is its strong association with malignancy. Workers have an increased risk of bronchogenic carcinoma, mesothelioma involving the pleura, gastrointestinal cancers, and cancers of the larynx. Smoking further increases the risk of lung cancer among asbestos workers. Farmer's lung is another important occupational disease affecting agricultural workers exposed to moldy hay and grain. The disease is caused by inhalation of spores of thermophilic actinomycetes, particularly Micropolyspora faini. Patients develop fever, cough, breathlessness, and diffuse lung inflammation a few hours after exposure. Repeated attacks may result in permanent pulmonary fibrosis and chronic respiratory impairment. Proper drying and storage of hay significantly reduce the risk. Tobaccosis is an occupational disease affecting workers involved in tobacco cultivation, processing, grading, and manufacturing. These workers are exposed not only to tobacco dust but also absorb nicotine through their skin, producing green tobacco sickness. Symptoms include nausea, vomiting, dizziness, weakness, headache, excessive sweating, and fluctuations in blood pressure. Long-term exposure may affect the respiratory, cardiovascular, neurological, reproductive, and musculoskeletal systems. Passive exposure to tobacco smoke further increases the health risks. The prevention of occupational dust diseases follows a systematic hierarchy of control measures. The first level focuses on environmental and engineering controls. Dust generation should be minimized by using wet drilling, water sprays, enclosed processes, local exhaust ventilation, proper machine maintenance, and substitution of hazardous materials with safer alternatives. Good workplace design and environmental monitoring also help reduce dust exposure. The second level involves medical, personal, and legislative measures. Workers should undergo pre-employment and periodic medical examinations, including chest radiography and pulmonary function testing for early detection of disease. Personal protective equipment such as approved respirators and face masks should be used whenever exposure cannot be completely eliminated. Worker education, health surveillance, and smoking cessation programs further reduce disease risk. Occupational safety is also strengthened through legislation. Employers must comply with occupational health laws, ensure regular workplace inspections, maintain safe working conditions, and provide adequate protective equipment. Governments enforce these regulations through labor laws and occupational safety legislation to protect workers from preventable diseases. To summarize, occupational dust diseases result from prolonged inhalation of harmful inorganic and organic dusts present in various industries and agricultural occupations. Diseases such as silicosis, anthracosis, biciniosis, bagasosis, abscosis, farmer's lung, and tobaccosis remain important causes of chronic respiratory illness. Since fibrosis is largely irreversible, prevention through engineering controls, medical surveillance, personal protection, and strict occupational safety measures remains the most effective strategy for protecting workers. If this helped you understand occupational dust diseases more clearly, please like, subscribe for more easy to understand public health and epidemiology videos, and leave a comment telling me which topic you would like me to explain next. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.